Mark Shapiro. He was at one of Way's favorites, the JP Morgan Global Technology, Media, and Communications Conference. If that's not a mouthful. I mean, talk about...
Is there at least an acronym there?
The GTMCC. Yeah. So Mark Shapiro, he spoke about a number of different things here. First of all, we have two clips we're going to play. The first one was asked about the Netflix deal and opportunities that TKO might be able to enjoy now that they're in bed with Netflix beyond just the core programming rights.
So, you mentioned Drive to Survive. So is that, potentially an opportunity, right, for you to program, with them, roast of Triple H, something like that, potentially?
Maybe we can get The Rock out there to do that with us.
Yeah.
Who knows? But they will do more of those roasts. That was too much of a hit. But yes, it is contemplated in our deal. Yeah. We will do a lot of ancillary and shoulder programming. And I think the very first genre you'll see out of WWE in terms of ancillary programming will be a Drive to Survive show. That's contemplated for the first season. And we'll also do some documentaries probably on a few of our superstars.
So not just ancillary and shoulder programming, but they are going to do a Drive to Survive show. And I'm just wondering the quality of drivers that you do have in the WWE roster. Like, I would think you would want to take the concept maybe and then apply it to wrestling rather than doing
interesting.
Straight Drive to Survive. But listen, Drive to Survive has done remarkable things for F1, but every time I hear it's Drive to Survive, but for this blank. We'll see what is produced here. I have no doubt that the production is going to be very high level. And you do have an audience that I think is still hungry for this kind of behind the scenes. But I think one of the things we've seen at All Access that AEW produced was a great example of that. If it doesn't feel authentic, I don't know if your wrestling audience is really going to be craving that. But this is obviously Netflix involved, and they have a massive investment in WWE, and WWE will probably, you just need a real authentic feel. That's what has made the F1 version of Drive to Survive so successful.
Mm-hmm. When people say that we're going to try to make a Drive to Survive for blank, I take it just to mean we're going to make a reality series that's going to be successful enough that it might drive people to actually watch the product that it's profiling. It's at this point, more of a buzzword than anything. Wrestling, WWE's own sort of like behind the scenes documentaries, they're really nothing new. Like they do them all the time. Can they do them in a way that is, appealing enough and interesting enough for a casual fan who might otherwise not watch Raw or SmackDown every single week to jump in? I mean, Total Divas was very successful for a certain demographic. Can they make something like that for a wider audience? I did certainly. I don't think I would look at All Access as that much of an indicator just because of the production difference that you might expect, with the WWE and with Netflix possibly being attached to it and whatever production companies that might be, under their wing. So I'm very curious to see what concept this is, and I'm hoping it's going to be different from, things we've seen in the past, like a Tough Enough.
Does this make a very obvious tag team pairing for Raw in the coming months if the show gets off the ground?
Gunther Steiner?
It's a match made in heaven, I think.
Gunther Breaker, you mean?
Well, for this, we may now they have a manager potentially. I mean,
we already have a Gunther. Maybe he's going to have to change his name.
Okay, well, we will see. Other notes that were brought up: Mark Shapiro very excited to take the WWE PLEs to the market. He was very complimentary towards Peacock and its growth, but noting the fact that they are constantly asked when their deals are going to be up for the PLEs. Seems to be indicating a lot of interest in those. On the UFC side, spoke about the potential of another performance institute opening up somewhere in the Middle East after they have built ones in Shanghai and Mexico, and these are the markets that they feel the need to create performance institutes where they really want to solidify their ties. And I think this year, it seems like the Middle East and specific Saudi Arabia is a massive area of growth for them to just just pump as much money as possible into their revenue streams. He was, you'll be stunned, Wei. He was heavily praising Paul Levesque, his creative genius, and Dana White. He just said, Dana White, he's a star unto himself. He's a star builder who he equated with David Stern, the late commissioner of the NBA. Noted the fact that,
was David Stern a star builder?
Well, he got the, with when the NBA was just trudging along, like there was a period like several decades ago where the NBA finals were airing on tape delay. And it was really the advent of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson that really took the league to another level.
What did he have to do with that?
I mean, David Stern was the commissioner, and he understood like the markets that he wanted to be in, and really marketing the players individually. So, he was someone that gets a lot of credit for the growth of the NBA during its largest periods of growth, when it was way down the totem pole of sports in the United States. But the exclusive negotiating window for the UFC and Disney begins in mid-January, and then they have 3 months, and stated that we were very happy when we entered this deal, but the fact is now we are under-monetized. So take that for we are looking for massive increases when it comes to the UFC, and said that they had gotten actually very far down the road with Amazon before they licensed the UFC rights to ESPN, and said that there's a lot of options on the table. We're going to be very flexible in these negotiations. And ESPN, they're going to be launching a direct-to-consumer app in the near future where people will not need to subscribe to cable to still get ESPN. And one of Mark Shapiro's ideas would be, why doesn't ESPN just buy out our UFC pay-per-views and make that part of the direct-to-consumer inventory that you sign up for whatever it's going to be, $30 a month for this ESPN app, and that comes with the $80 pay-per-view, and ESPN is going to have to pay a fortune for those rights, but that's one of the ideas that they had. So I think they're looking at what they have now, where they're guaranteed an amount no matter how their pay-per-view performs, but they want so much more of a guarantee because of what the potential is for these pay-per-views that have grown so much over this deal. And the rest was a lot of focus on Saudi Arabia, and that's the other clip we will hear from Mark Shapiro.
Seen us monetize site fees with the likes of Saudi Arabia for WWE. You can look for us to expand our current deal in the next 6 to 12 months. Very happy with MBS and the partnership we have there. We have 2 events a year, but we're already in discussions. Nick Khan is leading that for us in expanding that to more events. We also have a phenomenal deal in Abu Dhabi with the UFC, where we're getting significant site fees and incentive packages there. And we've now expanded our partnership with them for other affiliate events, if you will, in the Middle East that they would participate in as we sell them to different countries. We've now expanded our Saudi Arabia relationship by not just having a UFC fight this June, but announcing, for almost double the rights fee, another event next year. And I would tell you, David, we would be doing a longer-term deal with Saudi Arabia if we already had one event under our belt. So that's another way of saying, as long as everything goes well in June, which we anticipate, I think Dana White would be very amenable to doing a much longer-term deal in Saudi Arabia.
They're very happy with MBS. Very happy.
That to me, I mean, all of this is more of an indicator of just, I think, how things are different in maybe certainly TKO or Endeavor's attitudes towards Saudi Arabia and MBS.
And the comfort level of stating these things out loud, and to the community that they are speaking to, they too are receptive to, like, Saudi Arabia is it's no longer like coded language of large scale live events or not saying anything out loud. It's, hey, tons of money to be made, and there seems
to be no sort of political weight attached to Saudi Arabia or MBS anymore. It's strictly a way of saying money and dollars. You get the sense from listening to a quote like this that whatever Saudi's willing to offer, they might be willing to at least listen to and possibly accept.
So he finished up talking as well about site fees, and obviously they are looking to extract as many as possible, calling them incentive packages, where it doesn't have to be straight up cash. You can be creative in ways that you're going to reward us for bringing you these shows. Sure. And the other thing that he noted was that they're going to be starting to look for these incentive packages for not just pay-per-views for the UFC and WWE, but for Raw, for SmackDown, for fight nights. Like, they are going to be, and I bet that does not just mean internationally. I'm sure they are looking for, they just got a site fee for UFC in St. Louis. I'm certain that for some of the markets, like, they're going to try to bundle these together and really make these like a sales pitch to various local governments in the US, in Canada, and abroad, right down to their television.
It really is impressive when you see the Endeavor machine at work, you know, in being able to take what we've been watching now for decades. And certainly this product is at a height that, you know, we probably haven't really seen in many years, but still being able to take that and to make that much more money than we've ever seen anybody make from professional wrestling is really, really incredible.
This is the Endeavor flywheel way in action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's if you had to distill this 30-minute speech into a couple of words, TKO's making a ton of bank. Okay, that's what Mark Shapiro was like. He was giddy talking about, like, just all this revenue.
Isn't that what these interviews are usually about?
A lot of it. It's
to brag how much money we're making so that we might drive that stock price.
And to their credit, the market is responding well. Their stock is ticking up and up and up. It's up a significant amount over the last month. They are up to, I think today's close, $107.60. Look at the movement just over the last, if you look at the last month, they are up 13% in the last month. So this stock is driving very high, and I think there's a multiple series of events. I think the fact that the antitrust lawsuit is now that albatross that is off their shoulders, I think that has cleared the way. And I think people are realizing, and I think the fact that the NBA rights are being negotiated at such a high amount, and people are looking, well, what are the next big sports rights that are out there? The UFC qualifies as one of those. And if Warner Brothers Discovery is out of the NBA business, that's a lot of capital that they have on their hands and have a schedule to fill. And I would certainly think that they'd be at least bidding on the UFC. So their stock is doing very well. Endeavor they're doing okay.